Social media can be a productive and highly effective tool when it comes to spreading a message or marketing a product or service. But it's also become a gateway for dangerous challenges that many kids and teens find appealing. What kinds of effects can this have on your kids? We sit down with a local counselor to find out.
All right, so we're talking about social media challenges and, their appeal to kids.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll just start there. Why, in your experience, are these challenges, as dangerous as they can be, why do they seem so appealing to young people?
Man, it really is a simple concept of peer pressure. And I think we have to dive deeper into that. Why is the peer pressure happening? And that really comes down to the teen brain development. So if you think about adults, we have this amazing brake system, which is our executive functioning. And so anytime we engage in impulsive activities, that system kicks in and we're able to stop ourselves before it goes too far. But teens, they don't have that ability to the degree that we do as adults. So can they exercise it to some degree? Yes, but their prefrontal cortex isn't developed until much, much later, like in their 20s. And so when they encounter these social media challenges, they lure them in very much the same way, and they don't have that executive functioning to say like, hey, we shouldn't be engaging in this. And so that is really why they're engaging in those like they are. That goes back to conversations that they have with their parents. While I can give some great advice, I think that really starts at the home where parents have these conversations with their children really early. They should also just, if they're on the other end of that and they've already given access to social media, they should be talking about what are the things you've encountered. I think that's a great opportunity to talk about what platforms are you following? What content are they putting out? And if you haven't given your children access to it, talk about what are the dangers that you might encounter? What can you do when you come in contact with those things?
Okay. And staying on the parents, you being a parent yourself and you have young children. For parents with young children or parents with teenagers, how early should they start having these conversations?
They should have them years before they ever even give them access to social media. I think about my children at 5 and 3. And truly, they will not have cell phones for years and years and years to come, but I will start having conversations about things that we see on TV. And they're conversations that we have now. There are things that they see on TV that I talk about like, hey, that's not allowed in our home. We may see someone else engage in that, but that's not allowed here. I think about the things they hear at school. And we've had several instances where my kids have came home and they've said some words that I'm like, wow, that is really colorful. And I will say things like, hey, I know that you're going to say that at school. I'm not crazy. I'm not dumb. I know you're going to engage in those kind of behaviors at school. But the moment you step in my door, you know it's not appropriate for our home.
What is research indicating about the impact of social media on child's brains?
Social media is pretty new, and so there's not a ton, but there are some really great articles. One was done, a study was done in the US, also in England, and it showed that children ages 12 to 16 were 3 times more likely to experience mental health problems the more they spent time on social media platforms. And so they had the kind of baseline of 3 hours. When you started to go over that, there was a higher link between mental health problems. Also, the more use that they saw in children engaging on social media platforms, they saw more depressive and anxious symptoms.
Peterson says the earlier you can have those open and honest conversations with your children, the better, and have them as often as possible. For more parenting and social media tips, you know where to go, myhighplains.com.